All right, everyone. Again, thank you. Welcome. My name is Austin Talley. I'm going to be your moderator for today's session. Really great to see all of you, but I'm super excited about what we have to offer. So let's jump right in. We're going to be doing Getting Along with Anyone with Ellen Cooperperson. A little bit about Ellen. Ellen Cooperperson is the founder, president, and Chief Learning Officer of Cooperperson Performance Consultants. As a best-selling author, bold thought leader, communications consultant, and trusted advisor to family businesses, Ellen has moved and inspired thousands to change, grow, and to succeed. Ellen is a pioneer in executive coaching. She has been instrumental in boosting employee effectiveness and maximizing individual, team, and corporate performance from entrepreneurial companies to multinational organizations. In 1978, Ellen achieved a precedent-setting victory in the New York State Supreme Court and demonstrated the impact of language on cultural inclusion. Her name change case is a vivid example of a courageous conversation. And that's a term that she coined for the method that she teaches to quickly and effectively establish psychological safety and resolve conflict. Ellen received her MA in Organizational Development from Newark University, which is a top-ranking military academy. She is a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming, as well as a certified master coach and facilitator. Ellen's strategic thinking, change management capabilities, and presentation skills capitalize on three important resources: people, productivity, and profit by forming collaborative partnerships within organizations to successfully implement transformational initiatives. I'm super excited to be introducing Ellen. I'm super excited for what you all have, what you're all going to pick up today. Ellen, welcome. Thank you for being here. Take it away.
Thank you, Austin. Oh my God, his energy is just amazing. I moved, touched, and inspired, Austin, by you. That is just amazing. So welcome everyone. So delighted that you're here. Welcome to Getting Along with Anyone. I am delighted that you've chosen to be here today. I looked at the roster and I was so excited to see, and just want to shout out to old friends I have not seen for a very long time. So it's wonderful that you're here. Feel free, give me a shot. Absolutely great that you're here. And of course, people I have not met before, more than a cliche, these just friends I have not met yet. So I am just delighted that you're all here. Speaking of the roster, when I looked at who's here today, this is a group that is up to something. It's a group of people that are up to something, and are really extraordinary in being able to communicate with people. You would not be where you are if you didn't have those skills. So today is really about not it's easy to build rapport and get along with people. It's really about the ones who knock us off our game, push our buttons, that we need to connect with when the stakes are high, opinions vary, emotions are strong, and we need to make connections with them quickly and easily. We need to be able to influence and move the agenda so we get things done. And I don't have to tell you that the conversations out there have become much more escalated and difficult every day. And so this is about, how do we create more of a level playing field so that we can be seen, we can be heard, we can accomplish the goals we're trying to accomplish, and to do it with one of our favorite words, which is peace. be able to do it with peace. So that's what really this is all about. And that requires dynamic people reading skills and extraordinary conversation skills, especially in the face of all that. So my intention today is to put a remote control in your hands so that you can click sort of an invisible button to be able to change the tone of a conversation and move it in the direction that you'd like it to move. So speaking of that, I'm going to move this PowerPoint. Okay. I have to remember, is anybody else challenged by technology? My day begins with praying every single day that technology is going, never mind the people. Austin, again, I'm delighted that you're here. So what are we here to do? Get a better understanding of your own style and how to identify the styles of other people. As I said, there's a style that we have that works really beautifully with practice helps. Thanks, Mary Scott. Appreciate that. Also a technology genius, I might add. Better understanding our style and that our style can work perfectly with certain people. Others, as you saw in some of the emails we sent out, drain our energy. Anybody have that experience, right? People, yeah, there you go. Everybody, some people you get along with. Others takes a lot of work. Okay, so again, trying to make it easier for you. And on the subject of styles, I want to mention something. Many of you have been exposed to the conversation about styles and things like the DISC profile, which I'm going to talk about today. But my experience is that after people participate in a program like that, they have, you know, like a half-day program on styles and they love it and it was wonderful. But then you visit with them 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later or a month later, and all that information has sort of disappeared. And they say, oh, well, let's see, I was a beaver and this one was a goat. And I mean, they just can't remember any of it. So one of the things I'd like to be able to do with you today is to give you some way not only to get insight into styles, but how do you remember it? And how do you know one when you see one? And I'll explain more about that. But how do you know, as I'm explaining styles, that that's who's in front of you and what remote button to push to get into their model of the world? Fair enough? Okay. We're going to learn some techniques, of course. And for communicating with others in their style that increase their understanding and acceptance and meaning of intention. That's a lot of words that people will understand the meaning and intention of what you're communicating. I remember saying to my significant other at dinner, where did you get the meat? And he said, why, what's wrong with it? Okay, you all get that? Thank goodness I do this work. Otherwise, we'd be off to the races. So I'm sure you've had the experience that you've said something that seems like the simplest, most innocuous thing in the world. You just made a statement and someone is suddenly reacting as if you just put a hand grenade on the table. So what we want to do is to be able to communicate in a way that people understand our intention, understand our meaning, and that we're heard. Okay. We're going to look at where the breakdowns in communication happen. And as Austin mentioned, we'll talk a little bit about courageous conversations in the course of this today. Okay. So, you know that expression, we'll start with the fundamentals. And love this little cartoon. Because I want to ask you a question. The fundamentals are, what is communication to you? What does it really mean? Communication. And there's no right answers here. But what is communication to you? Anybody got a hand here? Whatever, but no right answers. And by the way, the first person who speaks in this program gets a round trip to Aruba. Okay. Anyone, what is communication?
Am I going, Ellen?
Yeah.
Communication to me is conveying your thoughts, feelings, needs, and wants to another person in a respectful manner.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Denise. And, you know, I see others are coming up in the chat. All correct. I'm going to give you one word to wrap a bow around what you just said and what you are all saying. That communication is reception. What did they get? We have the best intentions in the world, but what did they receive? Yeah, listening and responding appropriately. Absolutely. They're listening, and you're right on the spot now. Mary said listening and responding correctly, because here you are, you want to deliver a message to someone. Your intention is good, but there's something in the filter between what you're communicating and what they're getting. Yeah, what they receive is not always what you want them to hear. That's why we're here. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just reading some of the chats that are coming up. So I asked you, what's in the filter that prevents people from getting the message that you're intending in the way you are intending it? What's in the way? Let me move forward here. Okay. Here are the biggest barriers. Now, first of all, if you look at this entire list, it's a wonder that we can communicate with each other at all. And given that we're in busy, constantly going environments, getting into people's listening is the first challenge, because there's so many distractions and poor listening skills. So here's the question for you. What do you do when you're not listening? Now, I know we've learned all those skills, right? We make eye contact, we shake our head in the right place, we can even make sounds, we have facial expressions, do this with significant others all the time. We haven't got one clue what they just said to us. I fidget, Mary says. Yeah, not one clue. Because what do you do when you're not listening? Right? People say, I'm distracted. I think about other things. I think about what the person is going to say. I interrupt them. I'm busy doing other things. I call it going off to Hawaii, right? And if they say something that means something to me, I'll be back, right? Say something important, and what's in it for me, and I'll be back. And what I wanted to say to you is that certain styles and we'll talk a little more about this, are like what I call gerbils on crack. They cannot sit still for 1 second, and minds are leaping ahead to just get to the point, bottom line, even now, right? If I don't move this along, it's like, what's the point? Get to the bottom line. So listening is number one, and varying meanings and differences in perception. Yeah, people finish your sentence, Mary says, while you're still thinking. Absolutely. And there's styles, and I'm going to point out to you that if you just think about introverts and extroverts for a moment, introverts have to think before they speak. Extroverts think as they're speaking, they're processing and thinking. Two entirely different styles. So go bring an introvert into a brainstorming session and then wonder why they're not participating. Okay, different styles. So varying meanings. Let's just jump ahead here for a second. Now, what do you see? Now, the one you see all on your screen, as I'm looking at it, she's been traveling with me for a very, very long time. And if you look at that picture, I'm interested to hear what people see. Okay. So let's go into the chat. All right. Some people see a young woman with her head to the side, a feather in her hair, and wearing a white scarf. Other people are looking at this and saying, what? I don't see that. I see an old woman looking down, right, with a large nose, chin, and her mouth. So the young woman, her mouth is, with the young woman, it's a, see, I'm watching Denise's face, which is, wow, I didn't see that before, right? Others are saying, I see both. And that is the point. Exactly what Denise is doing right now, which is, oh, I get it. So in our conversation, we are going to look at the exact same thing and see it entirely different. If we're in a big, god-awful hurry to get to the end, people lose their patience if someone doesn't understand. And so what we want to do is we want to repeat the same thing we just said, only louder, like they're hearing impaired, because they don't get it. Okay, this is where we have to slow down. And by the way, I just did a blog on being a coaching leader. I want to invite you to take a look at that. And that is, you know, when people don't get it, we got to ask questions, we got to get into their listening and talking with them in a way that they can really see it. So you're waiting for that moment of, I got it, I see it the way you do. And some people see both. By the way, there are some people who cannot see both even in this conversation. They're like, what? And it's almost like reading a book and you get to a word that you don't understand and you think, I'll just read the rest of it. But it hangs there. And the same thing is true. I want to just get this sun out of my face. The same thing is true in conversation. If people don't understand what we're saying, their brain gets hung up there. So of course, we've got to watch for facial expressions and eye contact and body language, which we'll get to in a moment, because they've checked out. They're still stuck on that place. So if any of you are not seeing both, please do let us know after this program, and we'll spend some time with you so that you get to see both and you're not hung up on the page. Okay, so some of these others, if you take a look at the black and white, there's a word here up in the right-hand corner, and that word is lift. If you look at the white, yeah, very good. Cassandra says she sees lift, thank you. Otherwise, you see little black and black puzzle pieces. And on the bottom, on the left, what do you see? Yeah, someone sees a guy playing a saxophone. Yeah, jazz player. And then someone sees a woman's face. All right, sax player, right. And then all the way over on the right, what do you see? What do you see, folks? Yeah, great. The word liar. If you put your head to the side, you'll see it's written along there. Or a guy in glasses, man looking down. Okay, the only ones I worry about there are people who tell me they see a lion eating a woman's head. And what I say is we do private counseling for for these Rorschachs. But what I want to click into place for you here is that you and another person are going to look at the exact same thing, and you're going to see it entirely differently. And there's great power in words, and we're going to hear the same thing and interpret it entirely differently. So we have to be present, of course, in the conversations that we're having. Okay. So I was startled years and years ago when I first saw these numbers about the impact of our message on people being able to get our meaning and understanding. And that the words we use, seeing some variation, are between 7 and 10% of the impact of the message. That the real impact is in our tone of voice and our body language. And so people hear all the time, it's not so much what you said, but how you said it, okay? Anybody here remember Mighty Mouse? Dating myself. Mighty Mouse, yeah? You remember Mighty Mouse, Austin? Yeah.
Yeah, it was when I was very young, but I do remember Mighty Mouse with his big chest, and yeah, I remember.
Great. Oh, folks, I want to do a demonstration. Austin was not prepared for this. So, Austin, do you remember what Mighty Mouse used to say? Anybody remember what Mighty Mouse used to say?
No, I just remember him. I just remember seeing him. I don't really remember what he used to say.
Yeah. Mighty Mouse used to say, "Here I am to save the day." Okay. So folks, I want to demonstrate something to you for a moment. If it was just the words, "Here I am to save the day." So Austin, could you just say that? No body language, no tone of voice. "Here I am to save the day."
Here I am to save the day.
All right, is anybody inspired? Anybody inspired? Okay. Now let's do the words and the tone of voice, no body language.
Here I am to save the day.
That's better. Now we better all stand back because Austin's going to do the words, the tone of voice, and the body language. So Austin, all yours.
Here I am to save the day.
What's the message? Our message has to be congruent. If our words and our body language or our words and our tone don't match, we've lost them. And people pick up our energy and they pick up the subtle message before they, something's registering not right here. Everybody got that? So let me get to the heart of the matter. It's one of my favorite cartoons. And this is a man who's trying to communicate with a duck. Sprechen Sie Deutsch, he says. No answer from the duck. Habla español? No answer from the duck. Parlez-vous français? No answer from the duck. Now he gets a brilliant idea. He says quack, and the duck says quack. And there they are quacking away with each other in the last caption. The message of this whole presentation is, you want to talk to a duck? Learn how to quack. The problem you've been having with people you call difficult is you've been trying to speak French to a duck. This duck doesn't speak French. They speak their own language, okay? And so what we'll talk about is, what language do you speak and what language do they speak? So the good news is there's only 4 languages. And I know relationships seem very, very, very complex, but the fact remains there are only 4 languages. I'll break them down for you. Oh, and I want to add, all this work that's been done on dealing with difficult people, I'm going to say there's only 2 kinds of difficult people. Them, of course, and you. Do that. Okay. And if we know what language we're speaking and what language they are speaking and you're speaking, it makes it easy. So I'm going to invite you, if you have a pen, that's a very old tool, but if any of you have a pen and a piece of paper near you, what I want to invite you to do is to please sign your name. Okay, everybody just sign your name. Great. And now, please put the pen in your other hand and sign your name again. Beautiful. How was that? Signing your name with shaking hands. Okay. Awkward. Yeah. This is the point. When you're asked to do something, you will reach for your strength. That's your dominant hand. You can write with your other hand, and I'm not talking about the people who are ambidextrous. You can write with your other hand, but it feels awkward. It seems awkward. You can't do it as well as you can with your dominant hand, and the same thing is true with your dominant style. So when we're talking about styles, we're saying there's one style you will reach for. That is your dominant style that you will use over and over again in situations. Unless we are aware that we've got someone in front of us who has a completely different style than ours, in which case we're going to have to use our other-handedness, which is not as well developed, which is awkward. And so it's going to take that word called practice to be able to do that. And especially under stress and pressure, we want to revert back to what's most natural. So let's take a look at what's your natural style and what's the style we need to develop with other people, because that's the language they speak. Everybody clear? Everybody with me? Yeah? Okay, great. So let's take a look first at the driver, the D. This is D for driver, the dominant style. Simple. What language do they speak? Cut to the chase. What's the bottom line? Don't waste my time. Get to the point. You want something done, give it to a driver. What they do is they take a look at the goal, they get totally focused on it, and they go for it. What's important to a driver is, what did we accomplish? At the end of the day, they want to know, did we get the ball in the basket? They're task-oriented, and they want to know, What's this about? Now, you want an irritated driver? Waste their time and do touchy-feely things. If we started this meeting with kumbaya, we're going to do a group hug, they would have been clicking off the meeting. Okay, we got to talk to a driver duck with headlines. Give them the headlines first and then back up with the details, because they don't read the details. They don't listen to the details. Drivers traditionally don't listen well because they're jumping to the next thing. So I'm going to make this point with each one of the styles. And as I go through them, of course, I'm going to invite you, is this me? Are these some of the people that I know that I'm calling difficult? But this point is critically important. I know you've been looking at all kinds of things about character defects and self-help and all this kind of. The fact remains that our greatest skill, overused, can become our greatest liability. And that's what's going on. So you take, for example, a driver who is cut to the chase. What's the bottom line? Don't waste my time. Takes control. Now, how does that skill, overused, become a liability? Well, as I say, they don't listen. They jump to the conclusions. Their control becomes over-controlling and sometimes micromanagement. Also, because they're so cut to the chase, they can be blunt and sometimes harsh. And I say, giving people the truth without empathy can sometimes be cruelty. But drivers, and understandably, pride themselves on, I just get to the point. Great skill. Everybody good? Everybody clear with me? All right, I'm going to give you a way to click this all into place, and how do you know one when you see one? The second, inspire a motivator. We got Oprah Winfrey here. The influencer, inspire, motivator. Friendly, open, easy to get to know, a little dramatic, could be a little emotional sometimes, but builds rapport, gets along easily with people, enthusiastic. Now, what does a inspire motivator want? Recognition, appreciation, acknowledgement, to be seen, to be heard. Okay. And so, because they get their energy from being with other people, what an inspire motivator does not like is boring, repetitive tasks and being left alone to do that. So an inspire motivator can spend time alone as long as they're engaged and enjoying what they're doing. But give them something that they think is boring and repetitive, they'll find a reason to break out of the room and form a committee. Okay? Because they get their energy from being with others. Inspire motivators love variety. And so they are the ones who will flip from one thing to another because they like to keep the excitement level going. Inspires. Supporters. Keep things on a nice, even keel. Don't rock the boat. I was just thinking about the skill overused that can create a liability with inspires for just one moment. Friendly, open, talkative, blah, 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 blah. What's the downsides? Difficult for them to sit still and difficult for them to stop talking. Okay, and you'll see in a moment to another style That's like, you're killing me. Do you ever stop? All right. Supporters, keep things on a nice even keel. Don't rock the boat. Great on a team, great team players, like harmony, and the great soldiers, trusting, accommodating, appreciate people. Now, someone who doesn't, and they do not like that harmony, they do not like conflict. A supporter will avoid conflict like the plague. Now, how is that a problem, everybody? How is that a problem? Someone who cannot engage in conflict and avoids it. How's that a problem? Yeah. Yeah, they avoid risk, they avoid, yes, absolutely. And what happens to a supporter, and you've seen this, yeah, they can't say no, absolutely. They don't address the issues, absolutely. And what happens, I'm not really listening here, just wait. What happens is, oh, that's really fine. That's fine. Whatever you want, that's really just fine. No, that's not a problem. It doesn't really bother me. Whatever you say. Oh, look who's here. Jeff Horowitz can't make decisions. Absolutely. It builds up. The it's fine builds up until there's one more thing. And then they explode. It's like a pressure cooker. Or because they don't like conflict, it'll be, you know, yes, somebody said people pleasing, absolutely. And then after people pleasing and caretaking, and it's really fine and it doesn't bother me, and then it does bother them with one last thing that happens, okay? And, you know, we've been hearing about the great resignation in the workplace of people leaving jobs. And, you know, I keep wondering how much of this is build up, not having courageous conversations. And then people just finally explode, walk out, and shut down. So you've been seeing all the information about disengagement as well. Okay, so people who are not bringing it forward cannot have these courageous conversations. It's building up and exploding. Last one is the calculator. And that is black and white. Yeah, how do you catch a supporter? So Mary asked, how do you catch a supporter before they explode? Austin, will you capture that question, please? We'll address that at the end, right? It's like a dog in the room saying it's fine, but the room is on fire. Yeah, exactly. Let's all pretend nothing is going on here, all right? And the simple answer, and we'll talk more about this, is we need to create an environment of psychological safety. All the research that Google did on what builds strong teams, the beginning of it is creating psychological safety for people. They need to know they're not going to get hurt. They're not going to be, you know, shamed, embarrassed, attacked, condescended to, and that we're going to have the patience to listen to them, and they don't get hurt by bringing things forward. You know that expression, not killing the messenger. Last one is our little Einstein guy down here. The calculator, keep the, you know, calculators, very black and white, fact finding. Let me jump one slide here, kind of a listing of, from Daniel. I got you, Daniel. Okay. And let me just go one more, here you go. I got a whole list, and this is available to people if they would like this. After the program, we're going to offer some things to you. You'll let me know if you'd like it. But here's a simple list of all of some of the things I'm talking about here. And The calculator is all about logic, black and white, give me the facts, asks a lot of questions, very self-disciplined, much more reserved, have very high standards. And as I said before, skills overused become a liability, is that they're perfectionists. Okay, yeah. Cassandra's asking, can you fall into more than one category? And the answer is yes, and we've captured that question, and we'll answer that one also in giving us some time now towards the end. Great question. The calculators, they are into facts, figures. Now, what will set a calculator off? Telling them they're wrong. That's like taking a red flag and putting in front of a bull, because a calculator will not give you a commitment about an answer until they've done their homework. So if you're going to tell them that they're wrong, you better be prepared to bring that to the table, your homework. So I want to give you, okay, thank you. Austin just gave me a 15-minute high sign here. I want to give you a way to click these into place, okay? If you think about the driver as an eagle, now these are kind of funny cartoons. I don't know whether that's really an eagle's face. We'll have to maybe redo this slide. But just think about an eagle and what your associations are with an eagle, right? It's the symbol of our nation. Some of the associations that you have: powerful bird, right? Flies high, loner, right? See their own vision. Now, the big thing with an eagle is when they get something in their claws, even if it's 10 times bigger, they don't let it go. That's classic for a driver. The inspirer, want to liken it to a parrot. What's your association with parrots? Yeah, they're very colorful. They can mimic you. That's what I said. They can build rapport very easily. They can feed back to you what you just said. They're a little dramatic, but parrots, they want your attention. Okay, they know you're in the, yeah, they're chatty and they're fun. Thank you. So we have the eagle, we have a parrot. The S for supporter, that's a dove. What's your association with doves? Yeah, peace. Keep the peace. Keep things on a nice, even keel. And the last one, the calculator, owl. And they eat anything, pigeons. I didn't know that. Yeah. And the owl, again, stealth, quiet, hangs back, observes. When they finally make a sound, right? You hear them. And they are not going to be this lively bird. So you've got an eagle, a parrot, a dove, and an owl. How do you know one when you see one? First of all, I'm hoping as you're looking at this, you're beginning to see both yourself. Now, we're talking about dominant hand. Yourself and some of the people you call difficult. Fair enough. How do you know when you see one? Eagles and owls are task-oriented. Both are focused on what did we accomplish? What did we get done? Owls move more slowly than eagles, but task is what they're about. The parrots and doves, people-oriented. If things are not going well in the relationship, parrots and doves need to slow everything down because we got to fix the relationship first. So just imagine a conversation between a parrot and an eagle, okay? The parrot is, okay, we talked about it. What's the bottom line? Get to the point. The parrot wants to explain it all. They want to give them a story. And if they're in a relationship and they've just had a disagreement, you're going to have the eagle that says, okay, we talked about it. And the parrot is going to follow the eagle from room to room to room to room to have this conversation because we got to settle it. Otherwise, they can't be calm. Everybody clear where we are here now? Okay, great. So I'm imagining some questions are coming up for you. I want to offer to you and suggest to you that you think about these questions. What are the strengths, your strengths, given your right-handedness of what I've just talked about here? And what are your development opportunities? What are the things I need to work on? Do I need to work on my ability to stay present and listen? Do I need to have more patience? Do I need to be more forthright in what's going on with me, even though it's outside my comfort zone? Do I need to express what my needs and wants are? I'd like you to think about, too, of all the styles that I've talked about here, which one bugs you the most? Let me get a fast chat. Which one of these styles that I just talked about bugs you the most? Let me see these. Austin, what do you say? The supporters, right? Supporters, I knew that, right? Okay. Oh, the calculator. Okay. The drivers. You see this, folks? And what I want to tell you is the one that bugs you the most is what I'm going to tell you is your shadow side. The side of you that very often, the side of us we need to develop the most. So I knew for myself, I had to have owls around me. You know, we started this off from the beginning. I need a technology wizard around me, not my skill. And in order to have a great team, we need a little bit of all of it. And we need to develop the humility to step back and say, not my strength. So this one leads. Okay. So how do we become more effective with this style? And what advice would you give to other people to be more effective with you? Okay. The answer is practice. And I've given you today some of the tools. The profile is a fabulous tool for us to tune into what is our style and what are the styles of the people around us. It is an amazing tool and very, very simple to use. So tools we have, we can do the DISC profile for you. It takes you 20 minutes online and you get a download of amazing information. Also being able to provide feedback. Yours truly is available to provide feedback to you about your DISC profile. And what you've got here is a list of courses. We have this whole course online, 10 videos, 10-minute videos, 10 minutes each, with exercises. But, you know, the answer, and a mess of courses that I invite you to come on our website and take a look at. But the answer is practice, practice, practice. And taking one thing. If it's listening that you're needing, let's take the listening skill, work on that within the next 24 hours. How am I going to practice it? What am I doing instead of listening? And within the next 24 hours, take it, use it, practice it, and then reflect on, how'd I do? How'd I do with that? And get some feedback from the people around you. Share with others, this is what I'm working on, okay? Okay, and I think we'll move to, right, Austin, with time, is we're going to move to people's questions, right? And see what questions folks have. All right.
Definitely. First and foremost, thank you, Ellen. I always learn something new. Like I'm improving my listening constantly, and so I'm always learning something new whenever I sit through one of these. So thank you for that. Everyone, we've got about 5 minutes left, but it's really, really important to us to answer your questions. All right. So what we want to do is we want to open it up. There's 2 ways to submit questions. You can drop them into the chat, either to myself or to Ellen. Or if you want to come on and ask them live, we want to invite you to do that. That's actually a lot more fun anyway. So the best way to do that is look for the reactions button at the bottom of your Zoom, or look for the raise hand button. If you want to come on and you want to ask a question, just click the raise hand button. I'll give you the ability to unmute, and you can come right on and ask your question aloud. Again, you can drop questions in the chat, either directly to me or directly to Ellen. Or if you want to come on and have a conversation, click that raise hand button, and we'll give you the ability to unmute.
Thanks so much. And Sarah just asked a question, will this be recorded? Because she'd like to be able to share it with her team. The answer is absolutely yes. And we will be sending you, the link will be available. And so we'll send that to you. And this was excellent. Thank you, Sarah. I loved having you here. Okay, where's your questions? We got 5 minutes to answer all your problems.
Ellen, I want to actually circle back around and start off with Mary's question, right? This was the one that Mary dropped in. That was a really, really great question. That question was, how can you catch a supporter before they explode? How can you catch a supporter before they explode?
Okay. Again, we have to create psychological safety. We have to know that this is the kind of bird that's around us, right? That they are people pleasers, that they want to be able to please us. They want to be able to not get into trouble. So we have to encourage them to speak their mind, and we have to be very careful about how we respond to them when they do. We cannot shoot the messenger ever, because they've got to know that it's okay to say what they want. Now, I have a wonderful supporter on my staff. I could not function without her. And occasionally we have to have courageous conversations, because I'm getting a sense something's not right, okay? And I have to set the stage that says, please let me know what's going on. And, sometimes when we'll get together, we'll start with, okay, we're both going to breathe. We're just going to breathe first. And now we'll talk about it. Little by little, people build up their confidence to be able to talk to us, but we got to slow it down. Okay. Got that, Mary? Somebody also asked the question, Austin, about, can we be both, right? Can we be a little of all of it? The answer to you is absolutely. We are a little bit of all of this, right? Yeah, we'll make the Times Exit website. Yeah.
I have one here that's a really, really great question. Before we get to that, I just want to throw this up really fast, because we got a couple of minutes. 2 things, everybody. As we do these final questions, we have a couple of questions for you all. We have some really great resources that we want to share with you. So we're putting up a poll right now. There's 3 questions here. Would you like to receive the do's and don'ts of working with different styles, right? Which is an incredibly insightful piece. Would you like to receive more information about assessing your style? And then our final question there is, let us know how we did, right? This is really, really important for us to get some feedback. We're constantly trying to improve things and make it better and more resourceful for you. So go ahead and take that poll. Ellen, the last question here is from Jeffrey. With so many different opinions associated with the pandemic, are there any enhanced communication skills you can suggest for more effective discussions?
About specifically
associated with the pandemic. Yeah.
Well, the question that's in my mind is, and the thought that's in my mind is a great question, Joe. People are scared. They're scared. They're exhausted from this whole conversation. And essentially, they just want it to go away. They want it to go away. They want it to be over. There's all this conversation about, masks and no masks and so forth and so on. I will say to you, it's what our creed is all of the time in any conversation. Enter our conversations with a code of love, tolerance, kindness, patience, and understanding. People are reacting to it in all sorts of different ways. And what we have to be is loving, kind, patient, and tolerant with each other. Because this has been a hard year for a lot of people. And we are going through change at a massive rate. So let's just be kind to each other. That's the best I can offer. Probably another good answer will hit me in the middle of the night. So ask me again. Okay.
Thank you for that, Ellen. Really appreciate that. Everyone, again, we're at the top of the hour here, so we do want to be respectful of everyone's time. But if you can, go ahead and head over to that poll. There's 3 great questions there. If you're looking for more resources, take that poll. We'll reach out to those of you who are looking for those resources. Again, let us know how we're doing, right? So at the bottom of that poll, on a scale of 1 to 5, tell us how we're doing so we can do better. Let us know if this is valuable to you. For those of you who submitted questions, if we didn't get to your questions, we have those. We'll do our best to reach back out to you to answer those questions. Thank you so much, more than anything, right? Thank you so much for spending your time with us this morning. Ellen, any final thoughts, insights, anything you want to share before we close it out?
Yeah, 2 things. One, like I say, I'm seeing so many great people. I just love to hang out with you all and catch up. So if we haven't talked in a while, please get in touch. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for your comments. Thank you so much for being here. Austin, thank you. It's been wonderful for you having my back today. And for all of us and all of you out there, I hope you have gotten something from today that will be foundational for you. And honest bottom line, all any of us can be doing every single day is try to make this world a better place. One great conversation at a time. Love you. God bless. Have a wonderful, safe holiday. And I'll look forward to seeing you again. Please stay in touch. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.